A Lexington neighborhood in shock tonight after police say a man broke into a woman's home and raped her. And police say they've also connected him to another violent crime.
A man found dead in a Rowan County field after police say someone shot him. What investigators have told us about the case.
A Pulaski County man goes back to the jail he had just been released from after police say he was caught breaking into a home of a woman who had just recently passed away.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. A disturbing crime at a Lexington apartment, and tonight we've learned the suspect has a lengthy criminal history.
Now, Lexington police have arrested Jeffrey Cummins. Over the weekend, they say he broke into a 78-year-old woman's home on Donnabrook Court and raped her. And police say Cummins did the same thing to another Lexington woman more than a year ago. Kristen Kennedy is tracking the investigation tonight. It's our top story at 6.
Jeffrey Cummins is facing a long list of charges, including rape, sodomy, burglary, and matter portraying a sexual performance by a minor. He appeared in court Tuesday. The judge entered a not guilty plea for him.
I will place you under a court order to have no contact with the victim or victims.
Those victims, Lexington police say, are a woman in her 60s and a woman in her late 70s. Sunday, officers say Cummins broke into an elderly woman's apartment, raped her, then admitted to pouring bleach on her to destroy evidence.
We took a look at Cummins' past and found out there was a warrant out for his arrest for a similar crime, the rape of a 64-year-old last year.
Investigators told us it took about a year to track down Cummins and get his DNA. It then took several more months for the state crime lab to match Cummins to the 2015 rape. Lexington police issued a warrant for his arrest for that rape charge Monday, one day after police say he raped the woman on Donnabrook Court.
It's very disturbing, yes, because we have kids living on this block, and I don't think these kids' moms want their kids living in a neighborhood where an old lady just got raped.
Cummins is expected to be back in court next week. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Police in Lexington say they charged Cummins with matter portraying sexual performance by a minor because they found pornographic images on his cell phone. Court records show he was convicted of robbery and evidence tampering back in 2008 and burglary in 2009.
Tonight, police are trying to figure out what led to a shooting that killed a man in Rowan County. It happened late this morning at a home on Brown Ridge Road, not far from the Elliott County line. Police say they found the man dead in a field across the road. As Garrett Weimer tells us, investigators say they received a report that the man had been causing trouble at the home before the shooting.
Police say the man who was shot dated the daughter who lived in a home here on Brown Ridge Road. It was after some sort of altercation. Police say that man was shot. Police were first called out here this morning. They say the man had come to the home and gotten into some sort of dispute with the folks then, but he took off and they called for help. Police and canines out here could not find the man. It's a rural and wooded area not far from the Elliott County line. But not long later, they say he showed back up at the house.
After about an hour and a half, they all had to leave. The trooper stayed in the area to observe for him to see if he'd come back to the roadway to find him. And sometime in the meantime, he made it back to the residence. And after there was another altercation, and that's when the subject was shot.
Investigators say someone inside the house shot the man. He then ran across the road and was found dead. Police did not say whether he was armed or why he was shot. Investigators say several people were inside the home at the time of the shooting. They have not said who shot him. No charges have yet been filed. In Rowan County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And so far, investigators have not released the name of the man who was killed.
Some evidence in the case has disappeared, and attorneys for a man accused of killing a Scott County woman say that means charges against him should be dropped. Today, a judge heard their arguments during a hearing for Nicholas Willinger. And police say he killed retired school bus driver Sue Jones in 2010. Victor Puente has the latest now from Scott County.
Prosecutors say this case will be able to continue despite that missing evidence, but attorneys for Nick Willinger are trying to get his charges dismissed. Willinger was one of two people charged in the death of retired bus driver Sue Jones. She was beaten to death inside of her home in 2010. The other person charged, C.G. Jefferson, pleaded guilty to complicity to commit burglary last year. Willinger was set to go to trial this month, but those plans changed after 2 notebooks full of evidence came up missing. The detective in charge of the case has since retired and today testified about what all was in those files.
My investigation, supplements from other officers, CDs of interviews, videos, CDs with videos on it, telephone records, lab results, search warrants, affidavit for search warrants.
Brennan said he left the notebooks in his office when he retired in 2013.
And where was that file?
It was on the top shelf on my desk.
But now those binders are lost. Willinger's public defender says there could be evidence in there that could be used to clear him, and she's asking a judge to dismiss his charges. The daughter of the woman Willinger is accused of murdering was in the courtroom today. She said she expects this case to go to trial, and her family is looking for justice.
I want them to realize that they have taken a life. You do not have a right to take no one's life. No one does. I mean, he stepped over the boundaries. Robbery's one thing, burglary's another thing. I don't agree with them either, but you took someone's life.
Willinger's attorney told me she expects this hearing will last a couple more days. In Scott County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Prosecutors say that notes from other investigators can still be used in Willinger's trial.
New tonight, police say a man accused of stealing textbooks at university campuses around Kentucky may be connected to another crime. Police at Northern Kentucky University say Anthony Shields could be behind a burglary on that campus earlier this summer. University of Kentucky police arrested him over the weekend. They say he broke into at least 30 offices on the UK campus to steal textbooks in many cases. Police think he may have also stolen textbooks from Western Kentucky University, Eastern Kentucky University, and Morehead State. He had just been released from jail, but Somerset police arrested a man less than an hour later after they say he broke into a vacant home. They say a neighbor noticed Jonathan Whitaker inside that home, and when police arrived, they say they found him hiding in the attic. Today, Phil Pendleton talked to Whitaker from jail to get his side of the story.
Jonathan Whitaker is back in jail, a place he claims he shouldn't be.
I did not steal nothing, did not take nothing. So I don't know how they're getting me for burglary whenever I didn't take nothing.
But police say a neighbor saw Whitaker go into the home on Langdon Street. Then they called 911.
There's someone trying to break in the door and everything.
When police arrived, they say Whitaker hid in the attic for at least an hour and refused to come down.
He actually stepped through the ceiling of the home right over top of where some of the officers were located. And then they were able to pull him down the rest of the way.
I knew I was going to go back to jail.
Whitaker had just made bond on a trespassing charge less than an hour before. He claims he was just taking a breather in the home that he admits was not his.
And to want me on the news for something stupid like this.
Did he actually steal anything?
Yeah. When the officers made the arrest, when they finally got him into custody, he had some property that was identified by the family of the homeowner.
The house was vacant. Neighbors say the woman who lived there had just died. Police believe Whitaker was trying to make off with some of those belongings. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Whitaker told us he thinks police used too much force in arresting him. Police say when he fell through the ceiling, they didn't know if he was armed or what his intentions were.
It's been another day of some great weather across the Bluegrass, but it looks like the steam and the storms will be coming back soon. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at that forecast. Chris?
Yeah, indeed. Over the next few days, we will pick up on the increase of showers and thunderstorms and the steamy weather across the region. Live look outside right now, and we are indeed dealing with a little increase in cloud cover, and we are noticing the skyline beginning to cloud over a little bit across the region. Look at the temperature, though. So very nice at 82 degrees, humidity at 45% right now, so that's not bad at all. Temperatures across the entire area are generally running into the low 80s. Fair amount of sunshine, some of those high clouds that are out there as well. Overall, though, it's pretty good looking sky and a pretty good looking temperature map. Though the clouds across western Kentucky are beginning to increase and pushing into western Kentucky. We've noticed a little shower and thunderstorm action into far western Kentucky. Parts of Tennessee, that's on the leading edge of that surge of summer that is back in the Bluegrass State over the next few days. So we get the steam, we get the toasty temperatures, and yep, the scattered thunderstorms back in the Bluegrass State. We'll track those when I get back in a few minutes.
New tonight, Kentucky and 4 other states have filed another lawsuit against the Obama administration over discrimination protections for transgender people.
The lawsuit filed today wants to block parts of a non-discrimination mandate of the health care law. Some lawmakers in Texas think that mandate could force doctors to help with gender transition against their religious convictions. Along with Texas and Kentucky, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Kansas joined the lawsuit. This comes a day after a federal judge blocked a directive that would have required public schools to let transgender students use the bathroom of their choice. Kentucky is part of a lawsuit against that directive as well.
New tonight, the Kentucky Public Service Commission has approved a rate increase for Kentucky American Water. The PSC says the average Kentucky American customer will pay between $3 and $4 more each month. Those new rates begin on Sunday. The PSC also told Kentucky American to stop a billing practice that impacts customers whose meter readings were done more than 35 days apart. The PSC says that Kentucky American would often prorate the service charge upward to reflect a longer billing period. But the PSC says the water company cannot do that anymore. This call all comes as Kentucky American Water begins a project to replace water mains on West 6th Street in downtown Lexington. The company says the $1 million project will take place in 5 phases. Kentucky American says some old pipes in that area recently broke, and the pipes led to reports of discolored water. The company says while construction is going on, it may affect traffic on West 6th Street, but it's not expected to disrupt water service in that area. The project is expected to be finished by next spring.
PNC plans to upgrade its ATMs in Kentucky over the next month. Next, how the bank says it will help keep thieves from getting your money.
And then we'll show you the new luxury tailgating experience UK is offering football fans this season.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
New tonight, PNC Bank plans to upgrade the 300 ATMs it has in Kentucky.
And bank leaders say the change will help protect your money. PNC says the upgrade will allow its ATMs to read chip cards. Experts say those cards are harder to counterfeit than traditional magnetic stripe-only cards. PNC expects the upgrade to be finished by the middle of next month. The bank also says Visa and MasterCard plan to shift card fraud liability to ATM owners on October 1st.
Tailgating may feel more like a house party for some UK football fans this season. New this year outside Commonwealth Stadium, the 1865 Club. It features luxury tailgating suites, which can hold up to 30 people each. UK will even include standard tailgating foods, such as hot dogs and hamburgers. You can bring your own food and drinks as well. Each suite includes a kitchen, a half bath, heating and air conditioning, and plenty of room for entertaining.
Drinks you can stock the day before. You have patio furniture outside, huge TV outside, 3 TVs inside. It's a really good way to experience game day.
I would say so. UK leaders say the suites are $5,000 each for a single game rental and $30,000 for a full season rental. Game tickets, though, are not included.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, the weather over the past few days certainly getting me in football mode. I don't know about you. Now, unfortunately, the weather's going to kind of go the other way again over the next week and change as we steam it up and sometimes storm it up. Live look outside on an absolutely gorgeous Tuesday evening. That is kicking off across the Bluegrass State. Mix of sun and some high clouds, though you notice that Lexington, Cam, E-Town, Bowling Green, farther west you get more in the way of clouds. Farther east, look at the Moorhead sky, more in the way of some sunshine. Everybody, though, with low 80s and low humidity out there, absolutely perfect for a lot of folks across the Bluegrass State. What are we looking like with your Defender radar network? We know it's dry out there in our part of the world. Western Kentucky, here we go with a thick cloud cover that is beginning to press in. And we've had a couple of showers and thunderstorms into the western part of the state, leading edge of that warmer, more humid air, that tropical air we've been in for the better part of the summer is getting ready to push back into the Bluegrass State, and it's already getting into western Kentucky. How do we roll into the day tomorrow? Hello, middle 80s with a threat at any point tomorrow for at least a scattered thunderstorm. Big news, though, not going to be nearly as comfortable. Humidity levels are up there, and that chance for a stray storm or two, not only tomorrow, but into Thursday and into Friday as well. Do I anticipate any one day being a washout? Not right now. And some of you may go a couple or 3 days without seeing a whole lot. But our Defender Radar Network will each day be tracking some showers and thunderstorms across the area. As we start to get in on this flow, it's a similar flow to where we've been all summer. Coming out of the western Gulf of Mexico, throw a front into the mix. You get this humid air with a threat of some thunderstorms that go up kind of at random, and that's going to be the case late week, and I think that continues into the coming weekend. Early next week, everything hinges upon what happens in the tropics. Could be a big system setting off the Florida coast this weekend, maybe trying to get into the Gulf of Mexico. So if you're vacationing this weekend and next week across the southeastern seaboard or the Gulf states, keep checking back, and we'll see what develops down there. Around here, what develops? The steamy air. 60s to begin the day tomorrow as opposed to the 50s we've had now for back-to-back mornings. And toward the afternoon, you're going to notice the sky beginning to feel tropical and kind of looking the part. And then anyone can see a thunderstorm or two that would go up through tomorrow evening. And you know what we do after that? We basically just break out the rubber stamp again. So we rubber stamp the forecast Thursday, Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Daytime highs 85 to 90. Overnight lows upper 60s to low 70s. It is going to feel certainly hotter than what the thermometer actually reads because the humidity is going to be sky high, and that threat for a thunderstorm or two will certainly be with us. And I think that's a pattern that will likely take us into the first half of next week, guys.
Sure has been nice, though, to have a brief change.
Yeah. This is really good out there right now. You know, let's get to that dinner break here in a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Stomach's rumbling.
Now you're talking.
Drew Barker hopes to make a big difference for the Cats offense.
Well, he does this season. He started a couple of games last year, but it will all be in his hands at quarterback now. How does he feel about things coming out of fall camp, which ended today? There were very many bad days. Sports is next. Kentucky's fall camp coming to a close tonight, and now it gets down to the serious game planning for the opener against Southern Mississippi. The UK coaches say they've put a considerable dent in the changes needed in the overall culture of the program. And on the field, the offense has made strides as far as depth.
We got a decent two deep on the O-line. We've moved. John's done a nice job of moving guys around if you get an emergency situation. So we put some guys at center, some guys at tackle, and we've been able to do that at camp, which you have to do. And then, I think the receivers and running back core have really just pushed each other. I mean, now it's if somebody's not getting it done or they're not doing it the right way and they're not doing it our way, we can pull them. We can say, hey, you know what? If you don't want to do it this way, then we'll let another guy step up, and that's a good thing.
Drew Barker finishing up his first preseason camp as the starting quarterback. The coaches have had good things to say about him over the past few weeks. Barker says the main thing he's noticed from the offense is consistency.
This was definitely the most consistent, camp that I've had since I've been here. I mean, every single day, I don't think we really had a bad day. Maybe one, but if that, we bounce back right after the next practice. So I don't think we really have many bad days, and we just got to carry that consistency over into Saturdays and translate all the work we've done all off season in this camp to Saturdays and games.
Kentucky has two players on the Senior Bowl watch list. Running back JoJo Kemp, he has rushed for over 1,300 yards in his 3 seasons at UK. And center John Toth, who is one of 4 returning starters on the Cats offensive line and is considered one of the top centers in college football. Toth has played in 36 games, 35 consecutive starts. 69 players from the SEC are on the watch list. Senior Bowl is scheduled for January 28th in Mobile. And our countdown to UK football now stands at 11. 11, the number worn by current Cat Taven Richardson, by J.D. Harmon, by former Wildcats Rick Norton and Maxwell Smith. 11 is the number of interceptions the Cats made last season, and Dorian Baker averaged 11 yards per catch a season ago. Go to our website, WKYT.com, for all the countdown information. The Georgetown Tigers open the season ranked 18th in the country, and the first game on September 1st against Cumberland University. Bill Cronin has the majority of his offensive playmakers coming back. Ross Cox, Alan Williams, J.J. Jude, and quarterback Ozzie Mann. The Tigers believe they have the capability of blowing up the scoreboard.
It's always been a thing at Georgetown to score a lot of points, and we want to get back to that. We want to get back to an explosive offense that takes advantage of a #1 defense in the country, really. Anytime the defense gives us a chance, we always want to try and put points on the board, and I think that we're going to be able to do that.
You know, I think we got a lot of strengths. We can run the ball, pass the ball. I mean, anything, sky's the limit. We got a lot of talent out there, and I think we'll have a lot of fun this year.
And the schedule for baseball's postseason is out. It could run all the way to November 2nd. That's if the World Series goes to 7 games. Sam Amber, back to you.
Winter.
That's a long time.
All right. A final check of your first alert forecast is next.
Then on the CBS Evening News, a firefighter burned beyond recognition has made a miraculous recovery. A look at his life a year after a face transplant.